We were standing across from Lord and Taylor, and to our left, toward the finish line, two huge bombs, smoke coming out of buildings, and then something else to the left of us, and the whole thing stopped, and they sent us away.
A big, huge explosion while we were having lunch, and everybody ran for the doors and windows, and we were sheltered under tables.
Yeah, I work in the Prudential, but I don't know what's going on.
We're at the Lennox. We opened a window.
Yeah, when it hit the elevator shook the whole building. It was quite a blast. Two of them scared the hell out of us.
What did I see? I was watching the race, and we heard an explosion, and you knew it was a little bit louder than an M80 or a cherry bomber, and we saw all the smoke was right across the street from us, basically. It was the most serious thing I dealt with being on a fire department in 26 years. It was a terrible scene.
When I made the turn, I mean, it was like the first pop, boom, and then another one, boom, and then another one, boom. It's like one after the other. It was just one big cloud of smoke, white smoke, and then the other one after the other after the other.
Okay.
It was crazy.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. We're choosing the grandstand, and I was just worried about her, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's bad. This. Let me tell you, this is really, really bad.
So the President of the United States will be making a statement to the nation 6:10 p.m. Eastern, about 20 minutes or so from now. He'll go into the Brady press briefing room. There you see they're getting ready, the podium there for the president, camera crews, the reporters, they're getting themselves ready as well. The president will walk in, make a statement. Don't know if he'll answer reporters' questions, but he will make a statement to the nation. That's coming up less than 20 minutes from now. A horrific dual explosion, two bombings. We are now saying these are terrorist attacks, although no one has claimed responsibility. No one, we don't know any motive for what occurred, but we do know two people are dead, maybe more. Right now, 2 people are confirmed dead and 100 people are injured, some of them critically injured. Tom Fuentes, I want to bring you back into this analysis of what's going on. Tom Fuentes, a former Assistant Director of the FBI. Walk us through the president. He gets on the phone. He hears from his national security team, his Homeland Security team, his White House Chief of Staff, the Director of the FBI, Robert Mueller, briefs him on the telephone. The president wants to know what's going on, but there may be a lot more questions than there are answers.
Oh, always in that situation. The initial blast goes off. No one knows exactly who did it, how big it was, how many are injured. All they know is that the Bureau and ATF and other federal agencies, state and local agencies, would have had hundreds, if not thousands, of law enforcement officers already deployed at the event because it's such a huge event, in addition to the medical personnel that we talked about earlier. So it's not like the president has to be told and say, oh, okay, now send somebody there. They're already there. Now, he may say, you know, pull out the stops and send more people, but there's already a huge deployment at the event before the first runner even arrives to take off that day. There would have been weeks, if not months, of planning on the part of all of the officials. The JTTF and the others would all be sharing intelligence on any threat of any kind coming in, whether it's from overseas or whether it's a domestic group or chatter in a prison, in a U.S. jail. Any of those things would have already been funneled to that group.
And Jane Harman's here, a former member of the House Homeland Security Committee, a former congresswoman. You know, I remember vividly, because I was covering it at the time, the Oklahoma City bombing. And a lot of the initial speculation about who may have been responsible and what happened turned out to be inaccurate. Do you remember that? So I just want to caution all of our viewers right now. We don't know who was responsible. We don't know any motive. And some of the initial speculation could be way off.
Well, it could be way off, but there is probably a review going on again of what traffic, intelligence traffic we saw before the race. And maybe things that didn't seem to be clues before are clues now, and maybe there is some connection to future events, which is, again, why we have to be vigilant across a number of cities. Just want to applaud John Boehner. You reported that he's presiding over the House now and that there will be a prayer for those who were killed or injured and their families. I think that's very important, that the Congress stay open. On 9/11, I was there. We closed Congress. And we closed the office buildings, obviously out of concern for the safety of the people who were there. But those people represent the constituents in Boston and elsewhere around the country who may be at risk, and they have to stay there. And it is a good thing that the leadership of the House decided to keep the House open, and I assume the Senate. And also, one other thing to add, Wolf, which is that the leaders of Congress and the heads of the intelligence committees need to be briefed, too, not just the president on these events.
On 9/11, there was fear that a plane might be heading towards Capitol Hill. That's why they shut it down. They told all members, all staff, get out of there, go to some secure underground areas, because they didn't know what was happening. I suspect this is a lot different.
But it's the country's safety ahead of our safety. First responders know that. They're running to these events, and members of Congress have an obligation to keep the country safe.
We have another eyewitness account of what happened. Let's listen.
William and I had just crossed the finish line at, I guess, around 3:45. We were about 100 yards into what we call the finishing chute, the long area that you walk through after finishing, when there was a huge explosion right behind us. We turned, as you do, and saw a white plume of smoke rising into the air from what seemed, to my perspective, to be just the other...
Several explosions happened on Boylston Street in the last few hours. Boston Police, State Police, all state public safety officials are working together on this issue. The governor and I have spoken with the President of the United States just a half hour ago, and he's offered all the assistance he can to us during this investigation. Myself, as mayor, I offer my condolences and prayers to the families that are involved in this explosion. But also, if the family needs some assistance, they can call the mayor's hotline at 635-45. But also, if the family needs some assistance, they can call the mayor's hotline at 635-4500 if they need some information over the next 24 to 48 hours. But let me just say that this is a tragedy. We're going to work together on this, and the Boston Police, the State Police, FBI, all the agencies we just met, and we're committed to working together and making sure that we come to a finality of what happened this afternoon. And the governor has been very helpful to us on several issues this afternoon. So I'll turn it over to the governor and have him say a few words.
Well, thanks, Mr. Mayor, and thanks so much for coming out today. Obviously, we all send out our condolences to the victims and their families. We are asking everybody to stay out of the perimeter of the explosions, about a 15-block area which has been secured by the state police. That is a crime scene right now, and it's very, very important to helping people do their job, law enforcement do their job, that people stay out of that area. We said earlier it's probably best that most people make their way calmly home, and if they are visiting the city, back to their hotels. The commissioner has prioritized security at the hotels, just so that for everyone's peace of mind. We are working on I guess the term we're using is a drop-in center in the city, so that people who are trying to find runners or family members who didn't meet at the usual meetup place because the race was cut short, will be in a position to announce that, we hope, very shortly. So that people can find some assistance to help people find their loved ones. But I really am grateful that all of the federal, state, and local law enforcement officials are coordinating so closely and so well. They are talking constantly. They are all in investigation mode right now. It's a very serious time, so we do need people to stay out of the area of the explosion for the time being.
Please, Commissioner, say a few words.
Commissioner,
in the.
I'd like to clarify one statement. The device at the JFK Library was actually an incendiary device or a fire. We haven't linked that directly to this incident. So right now, this incident consists of two explosions that occurred on Boylston Street. The information that we got about 15 minutes before the prior press conference could very well be premature. But we are still asking people to be calm, to go to their homes and to work closely with us. If they have information and we need to hear about it, that's 1-800-494-TIPS. As the governor said, the area, about a 15-block area around the blast site, will be closed down for the next 24 hours and maybe further than that. People should be aware of that when they make plans for tomorrow.
Is there any security?
We are looking at all of that right now. That's one of the investigative steps that we're taking.
morning,
got a suspect?
they said they were doing drills this morning for the same exact thing that happened according to BostonGlobe.com. Now, were you guys given any warning ahead of time of this taking place?
As I said earlier, there was no specific intelligence. We certainly increase our posture around a big event like this. All of those things happened in preparation for this event, but there was no specific intelligence that anything was going to happen.
Can you talk a little bit about what type of device? Do you have any idea what type of device?
At this point in time, it's too early to get into the specifics. These were powerful devices that resulted in serious injuries.
Was there shrapnel?
Again, it's too early to tell.
Is there someone in custody? Might have a suspect?
Those reports are not true. There is no suspect in custody. We're questioning many people, but there is no one in custody at this point in time.
Do you have any update on the casualties of this event?
Again, we're still compiling that information, but we hope to have a count as soon as we can work with the hospitals and the public health people.
Is that accurate? Two people dead, right? The Boston Police Department.
There are fatalities. I won't get into the details on that.
Is that correct?
I said I wouldn't get into the details on that. There are people that have expired as a result of this incident.
Were the devices in a trash can or a mailbox?
We don't know.
Commissioner, what about reports that there are police guarding victims at Mass General?
There are police that have been dispatched to all of the hospitals. That's part of our investigative protocol to secure the area and also to make sure that we get every witness statement that we can possibly get. All that stuff is happening right now. I'm sorry?
But guarding rooms, specific rooms at Mass General?
There's a heavy police presence at all the hospitals, at some of the hotels, and other venues throughout the city. You shouldn't read anything into that.
As a matter of protocol, are you looking at garbage cans? And are you looking into garbage cans? Are they scouring the area, looking at all types of possibilities?
Anything that is unattended right now, any package that is unattended is being treated as a potential problem, and we are methodically going through the area to make sure we check each particular parcel and item that's out there.
Guys, we're going to call this for now. We'll be back with some more information when we have it. But thank you all for coming. Thank you very much.
And you've been listening now to
all right, so there he is, the police commissioner in Boston, the governor of Massachusetts, the mayor of Boston, updating us on what we know right now, and information is just coming in. We're also standing by to hear from the President of the United States. If you're just joining us, here's a recap of what we know right now. A horrific scene, one explosion, then another near the finish line at the Boston Marathon. If you're just joining us, we're following breaking news this hour. 2 people are dead, more than 100 reportedly injured in what is clearly a terrorist attack at a sporting event followed around the world. We're standing by once again for remarks by President Obama. He's getting ready to go into the White House briefing room. He'll be speaking within the next 8 or 9 minutes. We'll have live coverage. Standing by to hear from the president. He's been updated by the FBI director and the Secretary of Homeland Security. The twin bombings happened a little over 3 hours ago. The area was packed with tens of thousands of runners and spectators, but now it's a disaster area. It's filled with wreckage and stained with blood. Boston police are scrambling to try to figure out who's behind these bombings. They tell us no suspects have been arrested or in custody, although they are questioning individuals. No one has yet claimed responsibility for these terrorist attacks. Counterterrorism experts have been combing through the area in search of other explosive devices. We have CNN correspondents and analysts there following this unfolding story, bringing you team coverage of every new angle as it comes in and what's going on. We're watching what's going on here on this special edition of the Situation Room. I'm Wolf Blitzer, and once again, we want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. Let's bring in our national security contributor, Fran Townsend. She's been working her sources. You're getting some new information, Fran. What are you picking up?
Well, a federal law enforcement official with knowledge of the investigation said to me the FBI has indeed classified this as a terrorist attack, but they've made clear to me they do not know at this time whether those responsible for the attack were a foreign or domestic group. They do not know that answer yet, Wolf, and that's their highest priority. There was no threat to the marathon in advance. of the marathon today. They're going back now to see if there was something that was missed, either by federal or local officials. FBI confirmed that there is no one in custody. And this law enforcement official also said to me that the two explosions that we've shown the tape of, Wolf, along that end of the marathon route, it looks horrific. But I was told by this source that both packages that caused those explosions were small, and that as of right now, initial tests, there does not appear to have been used C4 or other high-grade explosive material, which would indicate, if that turns out to be true, Wolf, that this was a more crude device, a crude explosive device.